Thank you. Everybody fine? All good? Enjoying yourselves? Okay, I think this is the last, so it's a huge honor to be here. I would like to thank Awwwards to inviting us and showing our stuff. So we are Bureau, we are from Portugal, and we are a branding and interactive digital agency with studios in Coimbra and Porto. And you can see what we did on the last 4 years at this reel. Okay. Thank you. So we are 10, 5 designers, 5 developers, no project manager, no account, no sailing people. What could be wrong, right? A bit about myself. I took chemical engineering. I am an engineer by education. I'm a designer by choice. It is my choice to do design. And I'm an entrepreneur by obligation. I had no idea whatsoever to do a company. I just wanted to do design. And here we are. So this is me. What drove me to this field was this, 86, 87, early 90s, all about logos of music, metal, and layouts for AD. This drove me to what I do currently, due to, in December 1994, met Moonspell. So I'm that guy at the middle. I was starting to lose my hair, but that's me. Anyone knows Moonspell? Okay. So I'm around, they are still around, which is good. We started basically at the same time. And when we started, they had their first album, Wolfheart, and it was amazing. And I went to their show and said, look, guys, you need a web page for the internet. At that time, nobody knew what internet is. Nobody. So we had to say internet. It's a new word. Nowadays, this doesn't make sense. But in '94, those were the days. Anyone has seen this? Probably not. So it took me 5 months to do this. This was my first web page. It came out on the 15th of May of '95, which is, in terms of internet, it's like the infancy. Anyone bought this book? The Internet History? FWA Internet History? No? You should. For those that still missed Flash, this is like the Bible. But it's really a very important book. It has all the important websites that came around. So I would be on page 3, which I'm not, but I would be here. And when I started, this was the only thing that were around. It was the website for Megadeth. Everybody knows Megadeth, right? But it was Robin Sloan in '94 that did this, and it was the main inspiration back then. In '95, I built my first website. So it's very important in terms of when we start. I usually say that we are always newbies, right? But when we see professional work and here everyone does good work, it's very frustrating, right? We are always newbies. Yeah. So this was my beginning. I was completely self-taught, and I had to do everything from scratch. Just 2 more seconds. Yeah. So my beginning was on music. It was my passion. It still is my passion. And I did several layouts trying to understand how we could do design. My biggest influence was Vaughan Oliver. He died a few months ago. And now that I look at what I did, I failed miserably on what I was trying to do. This has 3D typefaces. I couldn't do anything 3D, so everything is flat. The same colors. And to me, this is a surprise because I didn't get to influence back then, but now that I compare, they are very strong related. So we do our best when we start on our own. I did several layouts, especially for metal, for Moonswell, of course. But back then, I used another connection to Universal Records, and I did several layouts for Portuguese bands. But what really stood out for me, again, was brands, to design each brand with every passion that I had, give everything to the maximum. So these are the first brands that I've designed, each one, and this is, of course, Moonswell. Everyone with paint-striking this detail as much as I could. And over the years, I've done around 300 logos. I am collecting these to our webpage. It's still not clearly a halfway, but the idea was branding to me was my thing. So around 2010, I had a collection of around 300 logos, published in 12 books, and just on Logo Knowledge, 43 logos, and of course, a lot of people. A lot of people know this. Everyone has this on the shelves, right? Yeah? Okay. So I have some logos there. Anyone knows this guy? Morphine? Yeah. So I compare branding to a bass with 2 strings. You can make awesome music with just 2 strings, right? When we talk about digital, it's completely insane because it's like a 24 strings guitar played by 24 people, everyone trying to tap it. So the difficulty on doing digital design is way beyond branding. So branding is a good reduction to introduce how we do our stuff. So I started with digital, made a lot of branding, and when I was ready to start again and close the circle and go to digital again. Of course, the awards is a place where you see what's going on. For this, 7 years, 8 years, 7 years, I think. We collected 24 awards, which to me, I still don't know how we did it. It's a huge pleasure to have the award. It's probably the best feeling of the month. But in reality, what we try to do to the clients and what awards give us visibility, but what we really do on each website that we did is believe that we could have a positive impact on the business, right? And again, let's be honest, when we see stuff from these agencies, you feel, okay, I will never do as good, right? I mean, come on. Especially these guys. These guys are, yeah. So yeah, it could tend, you could look at website and think it's easy, but it's never easy. It's absolutely a bloody nightmare. And a lot of people, I talk with a lot of people that are starting design, and they ask me, how can this be done? So I can tell you how I did it. Probably it's not, you cannot relate to it. Yeah. And I used this metaphor of the beginning and fail until you be like this, right? And speaking about drummers, an interview, Neil Pearl, that also died recently, drummer from Rush, right? Everybody? Anyone? Yeah, good. So how did you become what you became? One of the biggest drummers around. He said, the only way is to be totally obsessed. That's the only way. Another one, I don't have to present this guy. He said, we would never, ever did anything that wasn't the best we could possibly do, to the point of total obsessiveness. This was on their beginning, before OK Computer, but it gives a glimpse on how we can do this. So the process, to me, it's this, what the client wants, and the cool stuff that we want to do. So all these points are negotiations. You need to negotiate with them. You need to listen what they want. You need to think on how you can accomplish it, and then you solve the problems. And if you rise for here, it's danger. Here it's danger. No, this is a good call. And in here, it's a fun project. So this is my metric. So to me, design is solving problems by connecting the dots. And everyone, especially on small teams, needs to flex this muscle. This was the click moment. It was not made in Flash. In 2011, we had a client that we did the branding for vending machines franchising, and they had 2 stores. The idea was to pick up small spaces that weren't used on anything, and they put the vending machines on those halls. And they said, okay, I have 2 stores, and now I want to sell this as a franchising. I need a website. And we did. This is the early mock-up that we did for him to understand that we could do the small holes, the city, the people, and the concept would be you would slide and see the products. And he said, can we go ahead? And what he said was, when is it done? I don't care about the concept. I just need it. Yeah? So yeah, this was a huge step for us because we took really fun, this is 2011, on designing this. So basically, we were the client, and we did what we thought would be great. So no restrictions, everything was on us. And it was the first website that we programmed in HTML, so this is not Flash. This is nice, right? And when everything was done and ready to deliver, I look at this and say, okay, if this is a business that is 24 hours open, why is it always daylight? Could we do this on the night mode? And of course, the designer's eyes get watered and say, yeah. And the developer says, we could, right? But should we? Yeah, of course we should. So we did. First design, we designed it in Photoshop, and then we implemented, right? So the good learning on this project is you should design to be fun. You should be happy and always walk where creativity lies and lingers. And this was because the client was not on the equation, right? So design with your own agenda. Today, it's the same website, has 9 years old, and he opened 166 stores. So this is a clear glimpse of how we designers can have a positive impact on a business. You just do it right. So this was the click moment. You can have fun making websites. This is new. We don't necessarily need to do what the client asks for. Instead, we should do what he needs, not what we want. And we can invest a bit further, and we have over-deliver gains. So this was the learnings on this. So we are small, and to me, I think a small studio means that the work is very personal. The business, to me, is temporarily mine. I am a silent partner, and I genuinely care about the end result. This is the metrics since day one. So we needed to find new guys or girls. And when you choose a team, yeah. I can check this 5 days in a row, and it's always good, right? So you have to find people that care, that understand what you're doing. People that ask, of course, or that say, of course, let's do the night mode. Of course, why not? It's madness not to, right? So people that are thinking on creating an agency, it's great to start an agency with designers and developers, and we are just that. But the fundamental thing that you need to consider is you need a guy from business. It's madness not to, okay? And I know this because I had to be that guy. I had to take a step further and be the businessman, right? So to me, at Bureau, design wins, but as a rule, I think design never wins, except when a designer needs and knows how to be a strategist, a psychologist, a diplomat, a showman, and a hypnotizer, right? A Svengali. This is a sentence from Paul Scher. And this is completely right. I need to become one of those personas. It's a bit sad, but it gives you tough skin, right? So when designers ask, how can I sell my design to my boss? How do you guys manage to do these websites? It's a pain to do this. How can you? And the answer is, you need to build relations with the clients, with the teams, and learn how to sell and convince everyone. Because I'm not selling design when I'm with the client, I'm selling a solution. The design is good, but I'm not selling a good design. The good design gets to the client, not through the process, okay? And good design just convinces designers, right? So one example, Panic was a company that came to us to do the website 5 years ago, and we did redo everything before we did the website. So they had a new brand in 2014. They had a new rebranding, which is shit, right? And we said, look, we can work with this, but we can't work with this. It's completely impossible. I refuse to do it. Yeah, we don't do this on every client, only when it's necessary. So we did a rebranding, and the idea was, again, with learning from the past, that the client, to him, these variations are the same, right? He doesn't understand what's good typography, what's a good logo, right? So this was done by us. He even validated the final logo. It was one of the process. But this was the kicking starting point for the website. With the good logo, we could find the good typeface and the language for the website. So, big websites. I'm not going to talk about the process. I'm going to talk about details. You know all this: immerse, isolate, make decisions, make the story, tell the story. What I'm going to tell is an example of how we deal with things. So Copke is the oldest port wine house in Portugal, almost 400 years, so 4 centuries. We like to work with startups that have 4 years, but work with a brand of 400 years was new for us. So it was a huge responsibility. And when we got the approval, we got the material. And material is always a pain, right? You need to go to the process of saying, look, I need the photo that is on the third page of the PDF called this, right? So this is the starting point of the madness. And before we start telling the story, eventually, I realized that we need to make the story. Even for a 400-year company or product, you need to make the story. So you can't wait for good material. So basically, you need to control it as much as possible. You don't take the client out of the equation. He sees everything, right? But you need to make the content. Come on, we are 10 when we do the content, so this is not hard. So when the client told us that there was a basement, a cellar, the oldest cellar that they had, we went there and looked for opportunities on how to do the website. And this gate kept us interested. And it was not beautiful, but it had the potential to, if we are going to do a website on a cellar, on an old cellar, lost in time, maybe it will be a good idea to make use of this gate and make the age verification step, because this is a step, this is a step that people need to do to get inside the website. So we went there, we saw potential. It looks like crap, the photo is good, but that's normal, right? Because this is just where they store the port. We did the video, and the idea for the video was to shoot several moments on the cellar to explain the content of the website. So the sections of the website would be explained in terms of visual without any click. You had a quick intro for the website. So the video was done, and we needed audio. We needed music to make it engaging, to make it interesting. So we talked with the Thorn, a musician that lives in Paris, and I found the right song, and I said, look, I need to use this song. Can you send us the separations? And I said, of course. So we could use all this on the storytelling, right? A lot of people say, how do you find the right typeface? How do you find the right music? And the answer is this: I collect. So for 10 years, I have a blog called Collectibles and a channel on the YouTube where I collect everything that is not on YouTube on the beginning. Right now, this doesn't make much sense because now the labels put the music on the channel, right? But on the beginning, to me, it was how I found out all these amazing artists. You can follow me on Spotify. I do lists all the time. I can't live without lists. So if a music is good, I put it on lists. We have Bureau Marks, where you collect design that looks good. 95% is print. That's me. And print currently is merging with digital, so it's a good source. And I take everything. If you want a good invoice, you'll never do a good invoice, but there are brilliant invoices, right? And when you decide to do an invoice, where was that invoice and you never find it, right? So you need to collect. You need to collect. Oh, sorry. One click. Okay, so these are the URLs, my blog, Bureau Marks, a playlist of the 624 videos that I uploaded this 10 years, my Spotify. So I collect to connect later. After the music, I think we needed voiceover. Why? Because you have to tell a story. And if something is immersive and slow, the voice helps. So the first thing that I did is to catch the tone of voice that I want. And I said, we need a Jack Daniels type of voice for this. The first thing that I did, go to Google and look for a Jack Daniels voiceover. And there is a guy called Jack Daniel.
Kafka, since 1638.
Come on. Right? This is luck, pure luck. But the thing is that this guy gave the tone for the rest of the website. When we found this is the tone that we need to do. And of course, we did it in Portuguese.
Kafka, desde 1638.
Yeah, right. Another detail, on the video, it was a very big video, and we needed at least 2 days to do the shooting. And the client only had budget for 1 day, right? Nothing new. So we had to do everything in 1 day, one very long day. And at 6, anyone from the company was out. So it was just the team that was doing the video and the designers, right? The guys that suffer. So we did, and I had to pick the bottle. So this is my nail. And the client that went through to his life, like it should be, said that these nails are lousy. Yeah, I know that. These are my nails, right? It comes from my mother, right? But this is not acceptable. This is not up to the brands. Yeah? No worries. So we had to film another nail and put it here. So the extra miles, sometimes you are forced to do it. Other times you do it because it's fun. But you need to find people that really love what they do, that are on the solution side and not on the problem side. Because we could say, we need another day, we need another budget, right? This is very important. Always talk to decision makers. And when you talk with these brands, these 400-year-old brands, you can't talk with the CEO, right? It's impossible. But if you don't have a CEO, you need a cheerleader. You need something that understands what you're doing and that negotiates everything that you need. And this project was great because we had a great cheerleader called Iago. Otherwise, you're doing this on your own, and everything will be a no if they are not prepared. Another thing, this was for the section terroir. It's a JPEG that they use for the seller, for the tourists. And we had to come to think on how to put this. We could use this as a header of the website, right? Big image, type, on scroll, a carousel, right? Something like that. But the idea, if we want to make this interactive and interesting, we need to understand the possibilities that we have. And anyone knows Mapbox? Yeah, it's amazing. It's the only map API that allows to do this stuff.
Very special places in the world.
Daniel.
Kafka found one of them. Time-tested knowledge is what brings mastery. A place where memories of old are told anew. Port wine house.
Okay. Are the designers the only persons that are perfectionists. Of course not. This is a Russian guy called Alexei, and I follow him on Instagram, and this makes me mad. I want to do this. This is perfect. There's a before-after, and if you don't want to do this, you should leave immediately. There's no other way, right? Another guy. This guy is a welder. And this is absolutely porn. How can a guy with his finger have the capacity to be consistently good? There are just two, no need for more, but the idea is that a two is a two, but there is no difference whatsoever of the guy that did this and future deluxe with this. I can look at this for 5 hours, and this will be always good and always fresh. Or branding, or packaging, or whatever. And yes, there is a tag, too, on Bürocratik. Why did I do this? For today, right? Connect the dots. Do we do all big, only big websites or smaller websites? The idea, we want to do great websites, doesn't need to be big, just need to have quality. So the universe doesn't need to be always like this. You could have this. And to be just about right is harder than to do big stuff. One example, last year we had 2 calls, one from a jewelry company and one for steel warehouses. Of course, we wanted this, right? It's a lot better, easier to do this. We can do this, look good, right? So sadly, this guy said yes, really wanted to work with us, and they couldn't work with us. So this was it. And we had to do steel jewelry, meaning that we had to make this as sexy as possible. So we had a first year with them. We created the name, we created the brand. The brand came up from their product, right? Different Fs to become a new brand. And when we said yes to the website, we need to make content. How can we make this sexy? Well, we need to try hard. We need to see very good photography, very good video, very good, always on a new approach, always on a new, different angle. So we spent a few days shooting details on the company on 3 spots and build a very simple website in terms of structure, but that was everything relied on just videos. And of course, who buys these things knows what sheets are, but we don't know. So my idea is always to inform people what are steel plates, what are whatever. So you need to capture, and although the client wanted to remove the rest of the materials, that's what they have, right? There's no way to do this. And this is beautiful, at least to me. And in the end, this was a very small project. The budget was not that bad, but gave us a lot of leads. So a learning is that we depend on the word of the internet. Good work gets you more good work. And especially awards are key for visibility. When you win an award, you get visible and you get new calls for new work. So the groundbreaking discovery on how can we do this is this. It's nothing much. You just need to do everything properly, just right. Right? The other thing is that this takes loads of time. So I will be 25 years in May in the business, and took me 10 years to build. This was Flash. This was our last Flash website. We only did 3 or 4, something like that. And it takes a lot of time. I will finish with, I guess, what Bureau is, depends on the persons that work there. To me, is an urge to always craft good stuff. Design allows me to work with craftsmen and clients across all fields. And it's hard work, but strangely satisfying, and best of all, liberating from a less formatted daily job. So a shout out for everyone. giving it all. It's the only way. Thank you.